After the mixed reactions to the more grounded and tragic events in On Her Majesty's Secret Service, everybody involved with James Bond decided they needed to try and recapture the magic of 1964's Goldfinger. So why not get the same lead, director and singer back?
Did you miss me?
Let's look at 1971's Diamonds Are Forever. When Sean Connery left the role of James Bond after You Only Live Twice, the role was recast with an unknown actor, George Lazenby, for the 1969 entry On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and here's the link to our review. As Lazenby wasn't coming back, the producers Harry Saltzman and Albert R. Broccoli decided a British spy was old hat, and attempted to make the films more appealing to Americans by making Bond an American. So they cast actor John Gavin, known for his role in Psycho. He would play the role as American as apple pie in a film that would be set in and filmed around America. But United Artists was having none of that, and they sounded out Sean Connery about coming back for one last engagement. His price was astronomical, a dump truck full of money, $1.2 million.
That would be perfectly satisfactory.
As Saltzman and Broccoli did not have a great relationship with Connery, the temptation was to be passive-aggressive and send a literal dump truck to his house with his fee in coins. But in the end they went with a big cheque, since Connery would use his entire fee to set up his Scottish Educational Fund, which gave grants to Scottish artists and writers, provided they live and work in Scotland, and not clog up the beaches near his homes in Spain or the Bahamas with pasty layabouts. Despite the fact Bond's wife was murdered by Blofeld at the end of the last film, James Bond is reintroduced here, looking casual in his safari suit. He's clearly having fun with his pursuit of Blofeld during the pre-title sequence, dispatching what he thinks is Blofeld by drowning him in some boiling mud. And oh, look at the cute kitty cat! Somebody's smuggling diamonds, and James Bond 007 is sent to investigate the last link in the chain, taking the place of a smuggler meeting up with a contact in Amsterdam. It turns out Bond is the second worst person to be stuck in a lift with, just behind somebody who wants to talk about a fabulous multi-level marketing opportunity.
You just killed James Bond!
The contact turns out to be Tiffany Case, who's hiring somebody to sneak in a large amount of diamonds into the US, unfettered by customs officials.
I give up. I know the diamonds are in the body, but where?
Elementary, Dr. Leiter.
Bond plays along in order to get to the big bad in Las Vegas, with Bond in his tuxedo sticking out like a sore thumb in a Las Vegas casino. Anybody who touches the diamonds ends up dead, courtesy of Mr. Wynn and Mr. Kint, lovers first and assassins second. Bond follows a trail that leads to reclusive millionaire Willard White, unseen for years, but instead finds his old pal Blofeld, and oh, look at the cute kitty cat! The diamonds are used to power something that will something, but by now it doesn't matter. You can see where the desire to replicate Goldfinger's success has shaped the film, from Bond being briefed at dinner with M and someone from the government, to having the same director and the same singer, Shirley Bassey, who came back for her second of 3 Bond songs, and a charismatic villain's ridiculous plot.
The satellite is at present over Kansas. Well, if we destroy Kansas, the world may not hear about it for years.
But this time we're treated to some particular dodgy effects, and the flattest climax to a Bond film ever. They might have had a more exciting climax just cutting to Bond delivering his report to M.
It was at this point that shit really went down.
Diamonds Are Forever is the first of the 1970s Bond films, and of the 5 films released that decade, 4 of them are distinctly goofy. Bond fans as such particularly hate Diamonds Are Forever, maybe because it's the first of the jokey Bond films, and it's thanks to Tom Mankiewicz being brought on board to punch up the script, a job he later did with aplomb on the first Superman film.
Hi, I'm Plenty.
But of course you are.
Plenty O'Toole.
Named after your father, perhaps?
Some of the jokes are not good, with most of Bond's puns, one-liners and pithy bon mots about as funny as a David Spader solo film. If you have to ask which David Spader solo film, I don't discriminate.
I was just out walking my rat and I seem to have lost my way.
The film works best when taken with a pinch of salt, so while Diamonds is deeply unpopular with many Bond fans, for all their many faults, I love the 70s Bond films, including Diamonds Are Forever. Having super spy James Bond walking around in glamorous surrounds with elegant people in gloves clutching cigarette holders would have looked silly in the more prosaic early 1970s.
The f*** are you looking at?
At a time when films like Bullet, Dirty Harry and The French Connection redefined what people expected from this sort of action drama film, Bond was in serious danger of being out of touch with audiences. Just like the time I was trying to sell outdoor furniture to people building bomb shelters.
Tiffany, my dear, We're showing a bit more cheek than usual, aren't we?
Having been tempted back for one last fling as 007,
I'm back, bitches.
Sean Connery is clearly having a good time here, tossing off excruciating dad jokes with more flair than his last few Bond films.
I tend to notice little things like that, whether a girl is a blonde or a brunette.
And which do you prefer?
Oh, providing the collars and cuffs match.
He's like that prickly guy who hates his job, resigns, and then spends his notice period smiling and generally being agreeable. Jill St. John plays the first Bond woman of the 1970s, a confident and roguish smuggler.
Keep leaning on that tutor, Charlie, and you're gonna get a shot in the mouth.
Whose word is about as trustworthy as the warranty on a Ford. In the same year that Helen Reddy's feminist anthem Iron Woman became a massive chart hit, Tiffany was the producer's idea of a strong female character for the 1970s.
You did talk to your friend Felix about me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what did he say?
Something about 20 years to life.
Blofeld is back, this time played by Charles Gray, who again is nothing like any of the other versions of Blofeld. He's erudite and charming, without the rough edges of Telly Savalas or the weedy creepiness of Donald Pleasance. He's about as menacing as a disgruntled barista.
Right idea, Mr. Bond.
But wrong pussy.
Willard White, an analogue of Howard Hughes, is played by Jimmy Dean, who looks very good for someone who's been dead for, oh hang on, it's a different Jimmy Dean, a country singer / sausage maker. I mean, that sounds weird, but I'm assured that it's a thing.
I must say, Miss Kay seems quite attractive. For a lady.
Hey, listen, you can't do this to me. Stop that! I've got friends in this town!
Exceptionally fine shot.
I didn't know there was a pool down there.
An earthquake put paid to the idea of filming interiors and studios in Los Angeles, but returning Goldfinger director Guy Hamilton made good use of the Las Vegas locations. There's a whiff of sleaze about the place. Just a whiff. Like that house down the street that's always appearing as a location on short movies on streaming sites other than this one. This is a breezy Las Vegas set caper for the majority of the film, like a solo version of Ocean's 11, which would technically make this Ocean's 1, and only remembers it's a James Bond film when we have satellites firing fricking laser beams. The script is built for comfort rather than speed, like a luxury car with very soft suspension that wallows in the corners. Bond rarely feels like he's in danger, but rather than come off as bemused, he seems to be enjoying himself. He's like a kid in a candy store. Diamonds Are Forever has a nice score from John Barry, along with another song by Shirley Bassey. A little less full-on than Goldfinger, but still a classic in its own right.
Well, well, well. Look what the cat dragged in. I'm delighted to meet you, Miss Case. I'd so dreaded the prospect of making this tedious journey alone.
Diamonds Are Forever is always a fun movie, and wants to be a funny movie as well. But that's something that's not Connery's strong suit compared to his eventual successor, Roger Moore.
I'm Klaus Hergesheimer.
New here.
I've been here 3 years. G-section.
You have to wonder, whenever Blofeld escapes, he never takes the cat with him. So when the lair blows up, does that mean it's a different cat each film?
Klaus Hergesheimer, G-section.
Diamonds Are Forever has got a lot of people hating it. It's weird. I should hate it. But as a kid in the 1980s, the 70s Bond films were always repeated on TV, more so than the earlier or later films. And so Diamonds Are Forever possibly falls into that category of utterly dire shit. But since you were a kid when you first saw it, you love it anyway.
And I had script approval, can't you tell?
Diamonds Are Forever set a template for the 1970s Bond films. It was successful enough to assure the continuance of the series. But Connery had said he was done with the role.
Hasta la vista, baby.
100%. He said that he would never play James Bond again.
Never say never again. Will you please leave, you irritating man?
So once again, the search was on for a new Bond. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, leave a comment below, and check out some of our other videos.
Hi, sorry to bother you. I'm Klaus Hergesheimer.